Alrighty guys, we are back, and to give you a quick rundown of what we have done so far, we were able to afford some of the little patch gear, patch hide bracers, and an actual staff. We replaced the cracked staff that I had and got me an actual staff. So we did some hunting out in Field of Bone. I tried to make it over to Steam Font and kill the kobolds. Didn't make it. Got ended up killing by Gnome Guard, so that was a no-go. And then I went to Befallen because that's one of the hot zones right now, and it was good. I really enjoyed it. I was getting really great EXP, but this Grakar guy kept spawning in the front and roaming back and forth and kept killing me or running me out of the zone, so I ended up coming over here. We did get level 10. So I've got my pet now, and I've got a couple of spells, nothing abundantly fantastic, but I do have a couple. Oh my god, okay. So I do have a couple of spells though, so that makes it a tiny bit more bearable. But what I was going to try to do is take you guys back over to Befallen, because that is where the super EXP is. We'll do that in a little bit, but for now, let's go ahead and try our luck here in Kurns. Goodness, that was unlucky, wasn't it? This is unlucky. A scale bone at the front. Super unlucky. Or a greater scale bone. Sorry, that's super unlucky. Usually these are just graders or scale bone skeletons. Seek them. So I've noticed, obviously, my first pet here on the beast sword is not a phenomenal pet. Shoot, I couldn't tell you if that was normal. I really don't remember. Probably normal, I would assume. I don't remember any of the first tier pets being just absolutely great. But yeah, I mean, just gets rompa-stomped. It's okay though. We're gonna have to find a way to get deeper into Kurns, but I have noticed that there's a lot more like greater skeletons and greater skull bones. It could be just because no one's come in here and fought in a while, so they're just all spawned. But we'll find out. We will find out. I will say that it's been a lot of fun. It feels way more like more of an EverQuest feel, like the actual EverQuest that we all kind of grew up with. There's a lot of quality of life stuff though, especially the entry level or the entry zone that you can like port to certain places with, and all of the different vendors are there and things like that. You can also use the Origin AA. So there's definitely some things that separate it immensely from normal EverQuest, but that's okay. So this is like the second one of these that I've gotten, and I'm curious if this is the actual like the donation vendor guy coin. If they drop, that's actually pretty cool too. So you don't have to spend money if you don't want to. I know that would be a huge selling point to a lot of people that, you know, don't want to shell out, but don't want to be left out of the loop for the certain thing, especially if it's like, you know, transmog gear or something like that. So judging on the last fight, I think maybe I'll take Taunt off the pet. Just have him do extra damage. I also know that I was trying to sell my bone chips because like I'm broke and just started, you know, and they were saying that there actually would be a market for it here because people use them to get the faction for Kabilis even here, which it's a much lower, you know, pop server right now, which is why they started doing, you know, the advertising on like social media, that page I'm following and stuff, because they wanted to try to, you know, garner more players to get on. But I was actually shocked to see that they had a, you know, an active, you know, kind of market. They've actually got some players that are in the bazaar actively selling things and that kind of stuff. So when I first saw it available to play, I just made the assumption that it was extra, like a couple of buddies, you know, that were just playing together, that kind of thing. But it actually seems like there's a pretty solid player base, be it small, but solid, that play together, have fun. So I feel like the more player base we, you know, garnish over here, the obviously the funner and the more, you know, people you could get together to go do things. Wait, is that it? What is that? No, it's not another player. I've run into a few NPCs that resemble player characters, which has been kind of odd because I'm not expecting it. And then one of them was like a little halfling in like the full cleric, you know, that like the purple armor with like a little hammer. And I thought, first thing came to my mind, I was like, man, I'm probably gonna try to see if I can't beg me a buff or two, because it was in Befallen, and no, it was just an NPC. And the EXP is toned back, so you're not going to be flying through the levels. It took me most of the evening just to get to level 10, and a portion of that from like 7 to 10 was in Befallen, where the EXP has been pushed up quite a bit because it is one of the hot zones. So if you're doing like a different path, or you're not going to be doing only hot zone running, then it seems like the EXP is going to be quite a bit on the lower end, which I think is great, because it's like I was saying in my last video, like I feel like EverQuest was mainly about the journey itself rather than the destination. There's not as much to do at end game level for EverQuest as there is the actual process of getting there. I have played a lot of games, a tremendous amount of games, and I don't know that I've ever played one where I thought the journey to end level was as fun as EverQuest, where you could play it over and over again and not worry about it. Well, at least not a multiplayer game. Of course, there's the Skyrims and Fallouts and all that, but not an MMO. Actually, that's actually a good... Have you guys played any kind of MMO that has like a phenomenal run through of the actual leveling process? I played Final Fantasy 14, and I know that a lot of people say that that is like the bee's knees of it because of the story and stuff. I was bored for like, and I gave it a good, you know, 10-12 hours, you know, of me playing it just to not give up, because I thought, man, it'll probably get good in the next area or whatever, and it just didn't. Like I never had fun, and that kind of sucks because I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, massive Final Fantasy fan, and I really couldn't get into it. And I don't care about the normal complaints and the normal critiques, you know, all the little cat boys and things like that. I actually made one with cat ears because I thought it looked really cool and I thought it was adorable. So that doesn't get me, but the storyline is supposed to be one of the best storylines, and man, I just could not get into it. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe there's just a whole bunch of people out there that are ready to attack me in the comments telling me Final Fantasy 14 is the best, but it was not the best for me. You'll see that? Can you see that on the camera? Maybe not. Looks like there's red following that tree. I thought it maybe, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, is that a big ass dragon? But I guess not. But yeah, so far the gameplay, it reminds me very much of what I would expect on something like, maybe not as slow as P99 obviously, but maybe Quorm or something like that, where you know, you level slower, you kind of have to rely on the vendors and stuff to get your stuff like that. You're not going to just be rolling in the dough right away. Man, I'm guessing that these may drop quite a bit. If you were able to like mass pull a zone or something, those would probably come pretty quick. You know, like later on if you were like a wizard or something. Tell you what though, there's a market for these things for other players. I might just sell them, try to get me a cool one-handed blunt or something. But I'll probably end up doing some live streams soon to kind of show off what the actual server has. I've always found that trying to do videos on EverQuest, everything is just kind of so slow to build on EverQuest. You know, the fights, even the combat itself, staying in one area for so long just because that's just the game. It's very difficult to get an action-packed video unless you're just doing clips of like me falling off a mountain or something like that. You know, like the outtakes of doing a 2-3 hour long video can come up with some good little few minutes of something that's funny or something like that. But finding some like just true nitty-gritty in the action videos of the leveling process of EverQuest is a little wild, at least at this level. I think that if we were doing like a true dungeon crawl through Lower Guck or, you know, Downer or something like that, it's going to be better. But, you know, hitting up the dangers of Field of Bone is not exactly riveting. So I don't know if it is part of just this client, but it does show me what my EXP percentage is per kill. So that last one I got 1.7%. So I don't know if you guys can tell me in the comments. I haven't played retail in forever. I don't play P99 anymore, and I tried to play Quorm a little bit. I didn't like it, and then after the whole secret, you know, fiasco, I'll never go over there. So I was just kind of, is that normal, about 1.7% for a blue, or is that on the low end, the high end? It seems like 2% for a blue would, I mean, that's 50 blues at level 10 to get to level 11. That seems like it'd be a pretty good amount, but I have no idea. We're getting the cannon fodder spells just to fill up your book and take some of your money in the beginning. That's what I looked at those spells like. But I think at level 12 I get my first pet buff, which should be really, really nice. for the pet procs, because if I remember correctly, that's what make Beast Lore's pets fantastic, is the fact that they proc a really nice buff and they do it a lot. And then the haste for the Beast Lord pet is like almost specifically for, well, obviously hitting faster, but it's a huge dex buff that assists with the with obviously the proc. So see, 1%. I mean, I'm not over here jumping for joy or anything, but I mean, it feels like that's a pretty healthy amount of EXP for a blue. And I know that it'll get higher than that if you get like a, you know, one level below you blue or whatever. But what I really want is to get like a group of players. I mean, I'm gonna say this until I'm blue in the face, but I really want to get a group of players that I can devote a couple days a week or more, or whatever, you know, everybody can do, and truly have like an actual team of like 5 players, 6 players that can all play together and just go through the content all the way up to, you know, either when we get bored or when we conquer the content. I think that would be amazing. So I know that raiding is definitely a thing here, and it's not like you can raid with 6 people. So we obviously at that point we would have to branch out and, you know, either create a guild or join one. But it would be incredibly fun to have like a tight-knit group of people all on comms, just slaying content all the way through level 60, especially with Kunark and Velius, because they're incredibly fun. And I feel like they have some of the best dungeon crawls that you can do. So coordinating a dungeon crawl through Dalners, or a dungeon crawl through, you know, Chardok or Charasis or something like that would be really, really fun, especially with a solid group of players. And we would just need to get like some people together to coordinate whether or not they wanted to play like a tank or a healer or some DPS puller, whatever it may be. So not everybody rolls clerics or something. But I'm not gonna lie though, watching a video of like a 5 or 6 man cleric team just going through wrecking stuff with Smite would be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, so far the game or the server has been really, really fun. Everybody's been really receptive. Out of character chat has been PG, you know, no trolling, no spamming, anything like that. So I definitely recommend, if you have not looked into it, at least look into it and see what you think, and see if it'd be something that you'd be interested in. And if you are, leave me a comment so we can get together and figure out if we could, you know, create the dream team here and video some of our adventures, starting off brand new characters and all leveling together to be able to you know, get that experience of, you know, 1 to 60 in a tight-knit group, no pugs, no nothing like that. And I think that would be really, really fun. So, but I will catch you guys in the next video, and thank you for watching.